the Building Health Boundaries with Dr. Maria Barbosa. And our third series today, we will be talking about time boundaries. That's so important. Many of us, we does not know how to control it. And today we'll be talking about a non-profit organization, but the same way as a big, large corps have the same type of issues. Many of us overhelp or take too many projects in our hands. And I know in my younger years was not the only one. And many times what happened is as a new employee, the bosses or the managers or the older employees of that company has a tendency to give you the hard work or overload with projects that you don't want to do it. I think it's not only just me. I think some of you who's listening right now have the same problem right now. You're doing a little too much for that organization, and or even for that nonprofit organization. Today I do have a little short story, and I go using the name Mary, but just for you to know, I'm not talking about the specific person. That's just for me to emphasize this short story. Mary volunteered at her church for everything: events, childcare, cleaning, and coordinated events. Some of us relate to that, and I'm sure you related to that also in case you volunteer in your church or in another nonprofit organization. People knew she would always say yes. It is a saying: in case you have things done, just ask it to a busy person. And normally that person does the things. One day, the pastor asked her to take another project. Mary paused and replied with calm honesty. I am honored you ask, but I don't have the time to serve in another room right now. I'm sure the pastor was not too happy, but many of the pastors may be okay. However, in this story, the pastor was okay. Instead of being disappointed, the pastor said, I appreciate your responsibility and honesty. We will find someone else. The lesson of this story is be able to say no. By saying no, creates room for someone else to step in and for you to heal, rest, and grow. Not every time we can say yes when we volunteering in many different projects. Sometimes we have to stop and we need to be able to just keep going and focus in our personal life, but not overload ourselves with projects to help other people. And like I was talking earlier, many times as a new employee, we do a lot of work for that new company where we work for because some people don't want to do the work and they put it over the new employees. But we needed to learn to do boundaries and to implement boundaries. About this lesson was the time boundaries, the overload of work. Mary protected her time by telling the pastor, sorry, I cannot do that this time. But now I have reflection questions for you to meditating. Who in my life consumes my time the most? Could be family, could be work, could be friends, can do clean up the house, can do things around, shopping. Think about it and write it down. Do I feel guilty for resting or doing nothing? Many times we need a break. But when you have a break, you feel guilty about it. What would change if I honored my personal time as much as I honor others' time, especially when you volunteer for your church, like Mary? Because Mary did all of the events, took care the children care, cleaning the church, coordinated events. She all volunteered a lot of her time for that church. But she was able one time to tell the pastor, sorry, I cannot do anymore because I have other things to do. Was a good thing the pastor was not mad at her because many times when pastors or other organizations or nonprofit organizations always they expect you to do a lot of things for them special. You do not say no to them before. They just expect it. It's important for you to write your journal. Always I emphasize about the journal because once you put your thoughts in paper, helps you to reflect and also allows you to remove that heaviness from your body. Write about a week worth of obligations, which ones fulfill you and which ones drain you. This way you know where you spend the most of your time. It's important for you to be happy with what you do, not overload yourself with things that will drain you. The time boundaries, the perspective, your energy, and schedule. Some of the example. Mary said, I am honored you ask, but I don't have time for that right now. And she was polite when she said to the pastor. She right there established some boundaries. Let the pastor know she cannot overwork it. The mental health connection in this case, so if you're not able to establish boundaries in your time, the time you volunteer or overdo things, you can burn out, loss of productive, feeling overwhelmed, chronic fatigue. That will be your mental health issues. Many times as a childhood also, a lot of things, emotions happen, builds on us. And that also helps for us not to be able to say no when it comes for others when they request it. For example, so if you grow up, your time was controlled by parents or others, you were constantly expected to be available. You were not thought personal priority. You were resting or doing nothing. But everything what you did was according with your parents and the people around you in your childhood. That has impact also in your adult life to be able to implant your boundaries. My time belongs to others, not to myself. That's the way you feel as adult. But it's important to reflect. And I will leave you with some reflect questions. Who takes up my time without permission? All of us can be related to that. Do I schedule myself last? Special for those has families, has has mothers, for example, always they think about the husband, they think about the children first, always they keep themselves for last. It's very important also for you to start to think about yourself. Take time for yourself. Do I feel guilty for resting? Or another thing is when you buy something for yourself, many times you feel guilty. You buy a new clothes because you think about your children. Maybe they will deserve better than you. But just remember something. You work, you take care of your family. It's okay also sometimes to take care of yourself. The exercise I'm leaving with you today is block out 1 hour this week for yourself. You deserve it. Especially the holidays are coming. You need to take time for yourself. This way you can relax. This way you can build the energy back on yourself for everything you give out to volunteer to others. And just remember, tell people, have the strength to say, I am not available. Sorry, but I am overloaded with other projects. I cannot take one more. and treat it like a secret appointment to yourself when you take an hour for you to rest. Like I said, life runs too fast. We need time to be able just to sit and to relax and to reflect. Thank you again to all of you to participate at these short stories, at these short lessons. And have a good evening. And I will see you tomorrow around the same time. Take care now. Bye bye.